Oh, now we're recording.
Hi, my name is Will Spears.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. El Sol, where are we? El Sol.
Del Caribe.
Del Caribe. Caribe?
Yeah, Caribe. Yeah. This is a great place.
Sterling, I love it. I love it.
So
I come here
good.
at least twice a month.
This is the spot. Yeah. So tell me about yourself. What do you do? All that stuff.
So, my name is Louis Spears. I am an educator by the definition of an educator, but I don't necessarily teach anymore. I don't know if you know this, but I put in my resignation letter with the Jersey City Board of Ed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
January 1st, 2020. I'm done. And I'm looking to pursue this entrepreneurial work where, the author, using that as a catalyst to speak to different schools
So let's
and
like
entities.
rewind a little bit. So you're born and raised in Jersey City.
Born and raised in Jersey City.
What area?
I'm really excited because I feel like a true Jersey City kid that I went to PS 22 because I lived in Booker T. Then I went to 29. We had a fire on Grant. So we had to move back to Booker T. I went back to 22. Then we moved to Bostwick. I went to 41. Then we moved to Harmon. I went to 14. Then we moved to White, and then I stayed at 14 and graduated. I went to Ferris for high school. So I'm just made up of all of Jersey City.
I love that.
Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So this is the place that I love.
Right.
I left. I went to Rutgers University. Came back. Got married. We moved to Newark. We moved back to Jersey City. We moved to Carteret, and now we are back in Jersey City. We purchased our first house here in Jersey City. Thank you.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you. Really excited about it.
So tell me about your work.
So the work, I was a teacher for 14 years.
In Jersey City?
In Jersey City. I taught 6th grade, 5th grade, 8th grade, high school, and I was a CIT. I love the work. I love being a teacher. I didn't take it lightly that young people relied on me for not just for information but direction and insight, and
Yeah, it's a big deal.
I love it. But in the middle of the teaching experience, I realized that some of my young men, particularly, were not meeting the academic and emotional benchmarks that we created for them. And I felt like they needed something else. So I started my organization, my character and leadership organization called Kismet of Kings. Kismet means fate or destiny of kings. And basically, it's geared towards young men in middle school and high school. And we focus a lot. We meet every week. We focus a lot on development. I looked at a lot of things that tripped me, my boys up, whatever we had issues with, and I created a curriculum around developing our young men in those arenas. When it comes to relationships, when it comes to academic excellence, positive self-image, unwavering character, just focusing on those things. Then I realized that I wanted to have a greater impact, that the work that I was doing with the young men, that it essentially worked, and I wrote a book. You are the answer to the problem, from the hood to Harvard and back again. And so now I'm here just doing the work and making all of those.
So tell me about your book. How was that?
Oh gosh, it's exciting because I started talking about the things that I really plagued me.
Right.
So I started the book with talking about my dad and my relationship with my dad, and the fact that he wasn't there and how it affected me. Then I morphed into my mom and how my mom was there and how her not dealing with her issues affected me and growing up. And then I talked about my journey from Jersey City.
Like breaking the cycle, the cycle.
Yep.
And you're not a product of your environment.
Right. Or you don't have to be.
Right. You don't have to.
You don't have to be. And although there are systems designed to really hold certain people back, that we don't necessarily have to fall victim
You have a
to.
law going against you.
Yeah.
It's a big challenge.
It's a huge challenge.
Right.
And
So what did you do to kind of?
So it's so interesting. I don't know if there's one thing, right? But I felt like the community raised me ultimately, right? The community they said, yo, it's not good for you to go over there. I would be in parties and my friends would be like, what are you doing here? Go and study somewhere.
Right.
Or I went to church, Central Baptist Church, and they were like, you are a good person. You are this, you are that. So essentially, the same community that kept some people down, right? Like, let me say it. The same community where expectations were not given to certain kids, right? There were expectations given for me, and then I rose to the occasion.
What are certain topics that you're exploring?
And so every chapter has a lesson, and it's really geared towards a middle school, high schooler, where it's heavy, but the lessons are very simple, right? For our young people to know that no matter where you're from, your dreams are valid, and you have the authority to go and find it, right? So it's forgiving my dad and how that was so important to my growth, or understanding my mom's struggle and know that she did the best that she could, or knowing that the community is a community and you can extract exactly what you need from it, right? At any given time, or whatever it is that you need, whatever it is that you're doing, you can rely on the community for it. And it's giving lessons. I actually put my Harvard letter, the letter that I wrote to get into Harvard, I put that into the book, just so young people could see what were the things I spoke about, and basically use that as a catalyst to do their own. Yeah.
I love that. It's so inspiring.
Well, thank you.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. And I feel like in Jersey City there are a lot of, amazing mentors and teachers and nonprofit organizations that do, try to help, especially some of the youth that need it. Can you talk more a little bit, about that?
And so working with Kismet and Kings, I've been able to partner with a lot of, great organizations, great people who are doing the work. I believe that we all recognize as a unit that there was a gap in the learning, and so we decided to stand in a gap so that people we're used as conduits, technically, and people are moving through us to actualize their greatness.
Growing up in Jersey City, how do you feel about the change? Jersey City has changed a lot in the past 2 decades. How do you feel about the changes, both the positives and negatives?
So I was going to say I'm really excited about the changes. Honestly, I love the fact that we are the #1 diverse city in the state, or it's a country, right? The nation. I'm really excited about that because I just appreciate that everyone has a culture, everyone has a system in which they operate under, and that we could experience each other in our own ways. I love that. And as a teacher, I saw it in the building. What I don't necessarily like about Jersey City is that although there's a lot of diversity, we know that there's disparages in the community, right? Where some of my kids, in Ward F, have never gone downtown. Right, and it's because they never felt welcome, or they never thought that they could, or whatever. And so, it takes people like us to really invite them into those spaces.
But it's also vice versa. Some people downtown
have never been, right? And so, that's very important that we know that this is a city for all of us, and we all, and I think as a community we have to do a better job at creating a safe haven around those types of people, the disenfranchised, right? The senior citizens, right? I've heard that senior citizens are having a very difficult time, especially in this ward, with affording the rent and affording to live here. And it's these are the people who have worked their whole entire lives and provided us with the roadmap essentially to life. And now at the end of their life, technically, they're we're basically ostracizing them or pushing them out. That seems unfair to me. Yeah. So when I think about this community and what's happening, especially with the elected officials, and I don't always put it all on them, right? But I do believe because they're leaders that they could figure out a way to galvanize us, right? But when I look at the crime in the Black community, I'm this is crazy. This is unfair, right? But then I say to my wife, maybe they're incapable of expressing what's necessary, or they don't know how to lead appropriately or whatever, right? And then when I realized that during this massacre, that like the way I saw them come together and like speak out against it and like rally against it, how they use resources to really like support the Jewish community. Yo, I will never be upset, right? That's what's up. That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
It's just they weren't doing it for everybody, right? And so that's the problem, right? And so I think we know what to do. The question is, are we going to do it? Are we going to have enough balls? Are we going to have enough? Are we going to have enough stamina? Are we going to have enough love to extend those resources and all hands on deck approach to the Black crisis in our community? That's what I want to know.
Of the book, what's next for you? Like, what's your next step?
The next step is to start my own school, to become principal and CEO of Kismet. The name of the school is Kismet Leadership Academy for Young Men, and the acronym is going to be CLAIM. Right?
Love that.
Kismet, KLAYM, CLAIM, and Kismet Leadership Academy for young men. It's going to start in 6th grade. I'm accepting 60 young men. And then those 60 young men will go to 7th grade, and then we'll allow another 60 young men to start in 6th grade. And we're going to go all the way to 12th grade. And it's gonna be a fusion of two different ideas. One, the Eagle Academy from New York and in Newark, New Jersey. So it's an all-male school, 6th to 12th grade, all male. But then this will be the first charter school of its kind in New Jersey. So Foundation Academy, Trenton, and Eagle Academy fusing together.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
I'm sure.
There are a lot of major players, and you know, if there's anybody who wants to get into the work, I'm definitely open to working with more people, and that's from the academic, it's from the financial side, it's from the socio-emotional side. Whatever skills that you believe that you have, or skills that you don't necessarily have that I can cultivate, I would love to have people sign up.
What
to be a
about
part of
future in
this.
politics? I'm sure you've gotten that question.
So I'm looking at the political, and let me just say this, right? When I look at any politician, what time is it? When I look at, it's 12:44.
Okay.
When I look at any politician, right, I'm not envious of them in their jobs, right? I think it's a very difficult job, and I think a lot of times people put their mouth on things that they may not know, know about, and so. To answer your question, I don't see it in my immediate future, but I don't
you never know.
I don't know, right?
Yeah.
I have a heart for people. I know that. I have a heart for government and policy and seeing things get done, right? And for the disenfranchised mainly. And I don't know where that will lead. Right now, it's in education.
I think that's a great place.
Yeah.
All right, just a fun question. What's your favorite Jersey City hangout spot?
Oh my gosh, I have a bunch.
Okay.
So
Tell me.
So, you might catch me at the Light Rail, right?
Okay.
You might catch me at Cherry's.
I need to go to Cherry's.
You have to go to Cherry's, but you have to go for the breakfast, like on a Saturday morning or something like. Maybe we could go there.
Yeah, I'm down.
I love those places. Bright Side Tavern. I'm always there with Tommy. That's my guy. Tommy Two Scoops. Porter. I love Porter. Like I bring all my friends there. Beechwood Cafe.
Yeah, Beechwood's
I love that place. So that's where I bring people. Where if I'm cheating, I don't want to pay for liquor. So I bring them there. So I'm like, eat whatever you want.
I love that.
Yeah. One of my boys.
BYO,
But one of my boys introduced. He told me he does that with like dates. So he's like he brings his own liquor and like you wine and dine his date or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's very funny. Beechwood Cafe. Everywhere. I'm always all over the city because I just love Jersey City and everything that it stands for.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it was so nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you. Yes.
To be continued, right?
Yes.
Peace out.
Peace.